You guys remember that the last video I brought out past week was about how the chickens improve the pasture, but also how the system works with just the electric poultry netting for the predators on the ground and the guard geese for the aerial predators. Well, I think I talked a little bit too loud when I was here. This system has worked for me now without any losses to predators inside of this system all of last year and all of this year so far. And right after I put that video out, the days after, we have gotten some major attacks by aerial predators. 5 chickens got taken. One evening there was a crazy noise down here. My brother took the bike down to check, and as he came there was some kind of hawk-like bird inside of the house flying out, and that the geese can't get to there. So I thought, okay, that's the issue. The geese weren't able to get to the hawk. But I came here the next morning. It was just horrible. There was a dead chicken that looked untouched. It looked like it had gotten a heart attack. Then there was another halfly torn up chicken that was still alive. I had to kill it. And then since then a few other chickens have been taken. Interestingly, it's only the Bielefelder chicken except for one that got taken. So looks wise they should be not as visible as the white breast chickens, but the breast chickens genetically they just must have it in their genes to be foragers and hide from danger, because they're doing much better. The Bielefelder, a really good dual purpose breed, laying well, big eggs, but they don't forage as well. And I think out of the 5 birds, 4 were Bielefelder, so they don't seem to get it as much. That's just an important fact. Otherwise, what do I do? Because the other 2 birds were taken right here by the side of the forest. What do I do? What is going on here? Does the system not work? Yes, it works. It has worked so far. Here we have an extreme situation. We have the chickens right by the forest. I mean, some branches are over the pasture, and that's where the birds were taken. All that were taken, not outside or inside the house, they were taken right there on the side. The bird could just sit up there in the branches and then just come down on the chicken. That's where they were taken. So that is an extreme situation. But then I personally was in contact with Joel Salatin via email some year and a half ago, talking about the system when we were wanting to start this, or this, yeah, a year and a half ago about. And talking about the guard geese, because I had seen in videos that he had 2 geese walk with this kind of eggmobile, and we have 4 geese walk right now. And Joel Salatin wrote back, 1 goose. I said, well, I saw 2 in the video. I said, well, we are doing, experiments all the time, but our conclusion has been 1 goose. Why? Because she wants to protect the chickens. If you have many geese, they stay with each other, and that's exactly what I've noticed. All the chickens were scared to death when I've come here several times. It has impacted laying and all of that again. They were taken by the forest side. The geese are hanging out on that side by themselves. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove 3 of those geese. I'm trying to get the biggest to stay here, the one that's the most bossy. I'm going to take the other 3, take them to my house so they can mow a little bit for me, and I'll have only 1 guard goose here, and I will see what happens. Worst case, I'll have to move this away from the forest side here a little more and take it up. This is stress. This is sad. The birds look horrible. I mean, they get eaten alive. It's a brutal death. But at the same time, in this kind of system, you will never get away from it completely, and it's a good learning process for me and for the chicken. This here is the old experienced mama goose. She has some inbreeding issues, but she's a very nice goose. Okay, that was quite the chase. We'll see how this goose will handle that's here now by itself. These are all females. Ideally I would want a male here, an aggressive male, but I don't have that at the moment. We'll see how this will go. We'll see. I'll drive these up to my front yard now and let them graze there. Just had a couple come here a few days ago, and they picked up chicks from my breast that I hatched, and they were asking what I look at when I select my breeding flock. And this is really something that I see how important it is to select the right genetics for this kind of system. See, my dad has been breeding with chickens in the 80s already, since the 80s. A lot of experience, but the heritage breeds have been mainly bred for looks and not for production and not for survival instinct. So Joe Saladin, they noticed the same thing on their farm, and there's a really good video out there where Murray McMurray Hatchery comes visit his farm, and he talks about this, how they select their breeding flocks. And I really can see the benefit of those, you know, of that technique. So he just wants to make sure that it's an old bird, you know, 3 years old or something, that is still laying and that has survived all the predators, and that's still strong and healthy, and that forages a lot, you know, because that's what you want. You want to have a bird that for 3 years has been smart enough to run away from the hawks. A big bird, you know, you want a big bird. And in this system, those things are really, really important. So I guess there's somewhat of a natural selection. It is my responsibility to keep these birds safe, but you will have some losses in this system. And, you know, as I said, for example, the Bielefelder birds were the ones who don't run for shelter. They will not work in the system for me. The breasts are amazing at running away, at foraging and all of that. A really good breed for this. Even though I would not recommend it in a part where they're not easily available and super expensive. But, you know, if I know after, there's some birds here, they've gone 2 full seasons out on pasture, selecting those for the breeding flock that are still laying nice, big eggs, where the yolk is stark, where they eat a lot of grass. They have survived all this and not flown out of the fence and all of that. I will have much better breeding material and much better chicks the next season. Okay guys, well that's it for today. These geese are gonna get a bucket of water now. But otherwise, I think they're gonna give me a golf course here. That's how short they're gonna race this. And we'll see how it goes. I will definitely keep you guys updated if the guard geese system works better with that one goose. I think this video should really give a lot of authenticity to what farming and homesteading is like. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.